Not all anger looks like anger. Some people shout, some people explode, but some people stay quiet. They smile, they adjust, they say, "It's fine," even when it isn't. They are often called calm, polite, understanding, but inside them, something slowly builds. A heavy, silent anger. The kind that doesn't show on the surface. The kind no one notices, not even them. This anger doesn't destroy relationships loudly. It doesn't create scenes. It destroys from the inside. And the most dangerous part? It grows stronger every time you choose silence over honesty. This is not the story of an angry man. It's the story of what happens when anger is never allowed to speak. His name was Daniel. To others, Daniel looked calm. He spoke softly. He avoided arguments. He listened more than he talked. People often described him as easy to deal with, understanding, someone who never creates problems. Daniel accepted those labels, not because they were true, but because they were safe. Being calm kept life smooth. It kept people comfortable. What no one noticed was the effort it took for Daniel to stay that way. Calm was not his nature. It was something he practiced. Daniel learned to become quiet. Early in life, he noticed something important. When people showed anger, problems followed. Arguments began. Relationships became uncomfortable. So Daniel made a quiet decision. I will stay calm. I will not react. I will not cause trouble. When something hurt him, he told himself it was not important. When someone crossed the line, he told himself they didn't mean it. When something felt unfair, he said, let it go. Each time anger appeared, he pushed it down. Again and again. Slowly, people trusted him to adjust, to stay silent, to be fine. What no one saw was that anger did not disappear. It was being stored. Over time, something changed inside Daniel. He still didn't get angry at others. Instead, anger turned inward. When things went wrong, he blamed himself even when it wasn't his fault. When people disappointed him, he stayed quiet but felt heavy afterward. He replayed conversations in his mind. He remembered words he never said. He felt tightness in his chest for no clear reason. Daniel became tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. He lost interest in things he once enjoyed. Small problems felt big. Small mistakes felt personal. But he never called it anger. He called it stress, exhaustion, life. This is how quiet anger works. It doesn't shout. It slowly drains you. The breaking point came from a moment Daniel couldn't forget. Daniel and his close friends planned to meet early one morning for an important outing. The plan was simple. Same place, same time. Before sleeping, Daniel checked the group messages. Nothing had changed. The next morning, he arrived on time. He waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. His phone buzzed. Where are you? Why did you go there? We changed the place. Daniel felt confused. He opened the group chat again, scrolled carefully. There was no message, No update. Nothing. When they finally met, irritation filled the air. One friend said casually, "We shared the new location yesterday." Another added, "You were supposed to inform everyone. Because of you, we got late." The words were casual, but they were wrong. Daniel felt anger rise sharply inside him. His phone was in his hand. He could have shown the chat. He could have said, "No one told me. I followed the plan." The words were ready, but he looked at their faces. They were already annoyed. The mood was tense. Daniel knew what would happen if he spoke. Arguments, embarrassment, a ruined day. So, he made a familiar choice. He swallowed the anger, took a slow breath, and said quietly, "It's okay. Let's just go." The anger didn't leave. It turned inward. That night, the moment replayed again and again. Not the delay, not the confusion, but the moment he chose silence even though he was right. And the truth became clear. He wasn't angry because plans went wrong. He was angry because he accepted blame that wasn't his just to keep things calm. Something cracked that day. Not loudly, but deeply. A few days later, Daniel visited his grandfather. They sat quietly on the veranda. His grandfather noticed Daniel's silence. Then his grandfather said calmly, "You're carrying something heavy today." Daniel hesitated. "I'm just tired," he said. His grandfather nodded. "That's what anger looks like when you don't allow it to speak." Daniel looked at him. Grandfather picked up a small stone from the ground. "If someone puts a stone in your pocket," he asked, "what happens?" "It feels heavy," Daniel replied. His grandfather asked, "And if they keep adding stones?" Daniel replied, "It becomes uncomfortable." His grandfather nodded. "That's how unspoken anger works," he said. "Each time you stay silent when something is unfair, you add a stone inside yourself. I did this for many years," he added softly. "I stayed quiet to keep peace. And slowly, I became tired, bitter, and distant." His grandfather looked at him and asked, "When you stayed quiet that day, who were you protecting?" Daniel knew the answer. Everyone else, but not himself. "Anger is not bad," his grandfather said. "It is information. It tells you when something is unfair, when a boundary is crossed. When you ignore it," he said, "it turns inward. Real peace does not come from swallowing the truth." Daniel finally understood his anger. Daniel didn't change overnight, but he stopped lying to himself. The next time something felt unfair, he paused. He asked himself, "Am I staying silent to keep peace, or because I'm afraid to speak?" Sometimes he stayed silent, but now it was a choice. And sometimes, calmly, he spoke. Not to fight, not to prove anything, just to be honest. And for the first time, he felt lighter. Daniel learned something important. Anger was not asking him to fight. It was asking him to notice. Notice where he felt ignored. Notice where blame was unfair. Notice where he needed boundaries. The anger that once destroyed him became a guide instead. Many of us stay silent to keep things calm. We accept blame that isn't ours. We avoid discomfort. We choose peace for others. But peace that costs you your voice slowly costs you yourself. Anger is not asking you to shout. It is asking you to listen. Because anger that is understood can protect you, but anger that is swallowed will quietly destroy you. This was a story from Solvora Tales, where quiet stories help us understand ourselves and remind us to listen to what we feel. Until the next story, don't silence what is trying to protect you.